Okay. Hi. Today we're joined again by Jim Slick of Slick Cyber Systems. We're going to be discussing disgruntled employees. I think it's an important topic that isn't often discussed when it comes to mitigating risk for your business. If I look at news, all I have to do is spend 5 minutes on Google, watch any news media that's on at night. You can see anything from Gallup saying that U.S. employee engagement needs to do a rebound, or that Americans are increasingly disgruntled at work. CNBC that burnout is on a rise. We all know about earlier in the year when people were doing the quiet quitting stuff, and that's from then. But there are a lot of other things that go into that whole disgruntled employee piece, and how security of your business and the risk of your business, it needs to be something that you at least need to have your finger on the pulse of. And Jim, tell us, what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, interesting topic. I there's a lot of trickiness in this one just because of the human resources factor, right? And I think that's you really got to be careful. Obviously, what's the single most important thing that you need, right? Backup. So make sure your data is backed up as frequently as possible, either as money will allow or the tools will allow. I mean that's first and foremost. And then of course with that, make sure you have proper endpoint protection, antivirus, anti-spyware, blah blah blah, all the fun minutia that goes on the local machine as well as the servers. Um, Good firewalls, etc.
Okay. Yeah.
And then obviously, this is going to be compounded, with VPN access, right? So access from external. But let's pause on that one just for a minute. So just from an internal standpoint, employee comes in the door, they don't have any external access, they do their thing, work on their computer. They get pissed off, and for whatever reason, right? And it could be legitimate or not. Why it happens is irrelevant. It's the fact that it does happen. Well, it's irrelevant to me from the IT side. It should be relevant to you, the owner side, because what's bothering an employee. Maybe there's a series of things that need to change. Maybe it's a manager or what have you that's being abrasive. So that being said, that again, that's your baby, not mine. Um, but for my side, making sure that the proper IT procedures and practices are in there, from BDR, backup and disaster recovery. Um, so let's if I hypothetically said, all right, well, I'm a real nasty disgruntled employee. I got a crypto sitting on a thumb drive, and I walk in there and I plug that baby in. And you know what? I don't care if it wipes out every bit of your data. I mean that could be the attitude if if they're malicious enough and they get taken far enough. Emotions can be a pretty nasty, powerful thing, and a good, powerful thing too. Um,
Yeah, that could be bad.
yeah, I hear you. And I think the big thing to realize is, can you stop that monster? Do you have the proper software in place to be able to stop it? And no software, no system is 100% perfect, all the time. That's impossible. There's always going to be the new variant of something, 0 day that can get through, before the signatures released, before the company even has signatures released. To be able to cover that, and even heuristics at that point, it may not be smart enough to pick something up that's new. Um, but at least you've done the best that you could do, right? From a systems perspective, to be able to mitigate the problem. Now let me carve into the VPN side, right? So external access. Um, what's to prevent me from, I'm going to VPN in. Is it a corporate laptop, or are you allowing VPN in from a personal device, which I sure as heck hope you wouldn't be. That to me is taboo, because if they're polluted already, it might even not be disgruntled employee. This could be a perfectly happy employee. Oh yeah, yep. But I was surfing this and surfing that, and they're all, the machine's all crowded up. They connect to your network. You're done. It's because now you just gave them a tunnel right through the firewall, right into to a particular server, probably an RDS server, remote desktop server. you know, to do their job, and now all of a sudden the server's feeling the heat, right, from the dirty machine that it's touching. Um, and again, you hope you have good practice in there. So let's flip that from the oops, you know, to the yeah, I want to do something nasty. I mean, again, now you have all the tools in the world, you know, from home or outside of the office. Let's put it that way. Um, you know, to be able to inject a virus to delete data. You know, the heck with the virus. What if they just go in there? Yeah, well, I got access to that global
Yeah, that's the
drive or
thing I
whatever.
was going to say is it doesn't always have to be someone that's savvy enough to grab the most, insidious virus. It could be something as simple as, hey, they just go in and quite simply just delete the entire folder that's on a shared server.
And I have seen that. I've seen that in the past. It's very frustrating when you have the you know an employee that's that ticked off that goes in there and wipes out chunks of data, and now it happened to be theirs because they were hiding something, they were doing something wrong, and they were very disgruntled, and yeah, they wiped their entire drive out. They didn't take out the global drive, but anything that had to do with them, they deleted. And then on their email, again, they deleted 100% of the email. There was just nothing there. Now, being the smart individual that it was, you know, yeah, tongue in cheek, obviously. Um, you know, I had everything restored, you know, from the previous night's backup. So it was only a couple of hours, you know, of email that was lost, but no files. I mean, we were able to recover everything, and then we saw all the dirty stuff that transpired, and that was a nasty one. That went on for quite a while. But the fact of the matter is they did the damage, and and then it becomes an HR issue. And of course, you know, they were terminated. You know, within 24 hours, they were terminated. My opinion, it should have been on the spot, but it was a
So
remote.
so
It
that
was
so that
remote guard.
particular, not without sending any obvious names or anything. So that could be the, hey, I'm not savvy enough. I made a mistake, clicked on something, did something wrong. It got a bug got in the system. Some vector got in and destroyed data, or I went in and destroyed it, like the insider attack, if you will, and then or system sabotage, like someone
Yeah.
wants the network to go down, or they're looking to steal data for maybe a competitor. They're gonna, they're mad and they want to jump ship and they're gonna take
Well,
stuff with them.
that's funny you mention that because that's exactly what this person did. That they took corporate data drawings and took it to another competitor because they were looking to get a job there and they were in the process of making a deal, and that just I just can't imagine. I mean that's grand theft, man, at its ultimate. And in my opinion, that person should have been tossed in prison. That to me is just unacceptable. It's bad enough, you know that if you want to leave, or no, all right, scratch that. It if you want to leave and you're not happy, or the grass is greener on the other side, you're offered a pay raise, whatever. Hey, that's your prerogative. That's your prerogative as a human being, right? And however, man, don't be playing games, you know, especially if you're ticked off that something, you know, of something that happened, whether it was to you or you know, to somebody that you know, whatever. I find it just disgusting that somebody would steal the data, you know, and give it to competition, and then delete everything, you know. Oh, it's just mind-boggling. I just the human mind sometimes, um, maybe a vacuum. In that particular case, I think it was. And you know, they got nailed. They didn't get hired by the other people either. So uh,
So
Chihuahua.
given the everything you've said so far, the landscape of it is, I mean, it's to be expected that, no, I shouldn't say expected, like you should be on guard for the possibility of something like that. You
Sure.
should have the software and the technology in place to make sure that, again, the data that they've worked on or had access to is protected, backed up, and has mechanisms in place to ensure that it's not going to be destroyed or disrupted in some way
And
to cause
that
problems to the
comes
business.
down to another point: minimum access necessary.
Okay. Go ahead and explain that a little bit for anybody that doesn't know what that means.
You when you start with a company or what have you, you should have the absolute minimum amount of access to the data, to the systems, period, that you need to perform your job. That's it, nothing more. If just because this one drive usually comes with salespeople, so I'm just picking on sales for a minute, but yeah, and just give them both. No, 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 no. Give them what they need. I mean, if you want to go crazy about it, maybe even just a couple of folders that they need, not necessarily the entire drive, right? You've got to do proper minimum access necessary to do your job. So that's becoming a big, big, big trend, 2023 and beyond. And it has been, but it's really starting to get a big push. And then of course the monitoring of that, right? We have tools that can monitor when people, delete a file, change a file, access a file, et cetera, et cetera. So you can somebody's got to review the reports. I mean, obviously, all the best software in the world, if nobody's going to look at the reports, the human doesn't look at it and actually do something, and say, we may have an HR issue here, or we may have a training issue here, right? 6 to 1. At the end of the day, as you had said just moments ago, data's gone. Whether it's malicious or not malicious, data's gone, right? So, you need to make sure the proper backup systems are in place to be able to restore that data, and
Agreed.
then security. Yeah. It's just it's the right way. It's the only way to do business, period.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Yeah, I think that especially with the early part of the year, we saw a lot of things like I had mentioned earlier, quiet quitting, right? That was for whatever the reason the person perceives that they're going to leave. Grass is greener. They're upset, whatever, and whatever the terminology or the new thing is, for that span of period, and they comes fast as and furious. But then we go into what's going on today. If the, we're seeing a trend towards downsizing, right? I mean, earlier when they're saying nobody wanted to work. Now there's no work and everyone's slowing down and they're going to start laying people off. It's definitely, some people could get offended, upset, especially if they've worked hard and find the need to do something along those lines or want, and not
Yeah.
it's not
And
justified.
yeah, you never need but one.
Well, in their twisted mind, I guess I mean, that they feel like that's something that they should do. Um, that being the case, I think that we've kind of gone over that topic. If somebody has questions about, what they should do, obviously HR is a big piece. Understanding your employees is a big piece. Management review with employees and understanding that they're meeting their metrics and their whatever those numbers are, and the pulse, if you will, of how everyone works together. Um, if someone has a question on the tech and the things to ensure that their business stays operational, that the data stays secure, how
Yeah.
do they reach you? What do they do? To tell everybody the numbers, how to reach you, what's next?
Yeah, I mean, are you properly protected, right? So, and we can, again, your MSP should have a thumb on that. Your IT department, your MSP, or again, we could be your MSP, and certainly, even in a co-managed situation, if you have internal, that's all the better. I mean, we can take care of a lot of this kind of stuff on the back end, feed you guys the reports, and then do your thing. So yeah, absolutely. You can reach us telephone 570-215-8888, on the web, slickcybersystems.com, or you can email us sales@slickcybersystems.com. Either way is fine, and we'll be glad to come over, take a look, and give you suggestions as to what could be done better.
Okay. All right. So anything else before we go? All right. That's it. We're out for the day.
Cheers.